official position is not to speculate on this subject. We can choose to let our minds explore other possibilities, to use our imaginations. For if we consider that astroscientists agree on one point, that the possibility of life elsewhere is not only quite probable, some feel it is there without a doubt. Let us suppose then that these objects are real space vehicles, extraterrestrial in origin, and not an illusion of the mind.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
What's up, guys? It's been a minute, huh? How's it going? Welcome to Somewhere in the Live Stream. I am your host, Ryan Sprague. If you are new to this channel, this is a live stream that we try to do every Sunday here in relation to the UFO topic, UAP, whatever you want to call them. If you are looking for the latest news and headlines about UFOs, we have got you covered. We're going to talk about a lot tonight, as I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail for this video if you're watching it on YouTube. This will be available in podcast form this upcoming Wednesday as well, so you can listen to it on the Somewhere in the Skies podcast. Speaking of which, if you are new to the channel, like I said, my name is Ryan Sprague. I am the host of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast, which is UFO-centric as well, where we cover everything related to UFOs. We do interviews, we do case histories, we do witness accounts, where if you have personally had a UFO sighting, close encounter, anything like that, you can call into the show and tell your story in your own words. We just released like the 33rd volume or something like that, which is just insane. But it goes to show how, I guess, voluminous the UFO phenomenon truly is and continues to be. So you can learn more about the Somewhere in the Skies podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and you can learn more about us at all of the links in the show notes. I'm blurry. Oh no, I'm so sorry, guys. I've been having a lot of tech issues lately. I'm trying to pull my focus. Thank you, Suzanne. I'll try to fix that in a little bit here. But yeah, we have a lot to cover. We have a lot to cover tonight. But I am going to say hello to a bunch of our regulars in the chat as well while I try to unblur myself. Give me one sec. I think I know how to do this. Give me one sec. Oh, there goes my camera. And we're back. Tech issues already. How do I sound? I'm using an old microphone. I'm getting a thumbs up from our wonderful moderator, Suzanne, who is here with us all of tonight, guys. So say hello to her in the chat. She'll be taking your questions and comments all night. She will also be taking your super chats because, as I mentioned, I am using a very antiquated microphone tonight. My good microphone, rest in peace. So I've been traveling for the past month and a half. That's why we haven't had consistent live streams. I've been all over Nova Scotia, Canada, hunting ghosts for the television show Haunted, which you can watch the 11th season right now on Eastlink. If you live in Canada, it's available all across the country, and you can catch me on there right now, hunting ghosts. And we just wrapped season 13, which is just incredible. So yeah, you can learn more about that by going to right here on YouTube. Go to Eastlink Haunted, and you can watch the first 4 seasons for free, or you can watch the current season on Eastlink, airing every week. But like I mentioned, super chat, super stickers are open if you would like to help support the show. All of your donations will go back to getting us a new microphone so that we don't sound terrible. This microphone honestly isn't that bad. I'm not going to lie, but I like to have really good quality audio. We are a podcast after all, first and foremost. So yes, if you want to help out the show and help us get a new mic, you could do that by using the super chat or super stickers or join our Patreon campaign. There's a link in the show notes for that as well. And right up on the screen to just go to patreon.com/somewhereskies. You get benefits in return, such as early access to the podcast. You get priority to ask our guests, listener questions. What else do you get? You get bonus episodes. And heck, why not throw something else in the mix? I will give you a signed copy of one of my books as well. If you sign up for the, let's say, $5 and above level in the next week or so. I'll put something up on social media for that. And if you join in the next week or so, it's November 10th right now. I'll give you 7 days to join at the $5 level and above, and you will be put into a list to get a signed book by me. If you care about that. If not, that's okay too. You'll be helping the show no matter what. Enough about that. What else do we have going on? Oh, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but there is a UFO hearing. 2 of them, actually, but one has been confirmed for sure. The witnesses who will be testifying at this congressional UFO hearing have been named. We will go through each of them tonight with you guys, so you get a feel for who's going to be speaking at this event, why they might be speaking at this event, and what they might talk about. So we will cover that later in the show as well. But yes, November 13th, which I believe is this Wednesday, we will be live streaming the UFO hearing right here on this channel. So you can watch it for free live with us. I might be doing a little bit of commentary during it. We shall see, but I will leave it to those testifying and the congressional people involved to bring us most of it. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We like to do these watch parties every time something like this happens. There's been a few hearings at this point, and this is another one. Controversial one, to say the least. We'll get to those who will be involved later on in the show. But yeah, you can click notifications right now, right here on the channel. I already have the video up, the thumbnail, I should say, where you can click notifications to be notified the minute we go live on Wednesday to start broadcasting. And we will have a post discussion as well about how the hearing went, what was talked about, if any new revelations have come to light. And I am hoping to get some surprise guests for that as well. So stay tuned for that. Or I might just keep it a surprise. We shall see. But speaking of that, there was something else I wanted to mention in relation to the hearing. Doesn't matter. Clearly wasn't that important. I do want to go back to saying hello to our regulars that I see here. We have Ruth Bradford. Nisa is here. Gareth is here. Robert Chafee is here. Dalen, I saw Dalen. Gregory Bonds, welcome. Welcome to the show. Joining us over from Twitter. What is this? He asks. Well, I kind of covered that, but Gregory, if you're still with us, buddy, this is a live stream we do every week where we cover all the latest UFO news. So I hope you'll watch, and I hope you will enjoy. Hello to Fluffy Kitten joining us, finally able to be here. Oh, that's awesome. From New Zealand. Wow, that's so cool. Cheers. J. Allen Heineken is here. Aether Bunny is here. Yahoo! Love it. Michael Huntington, excuse me, Michael, is here. Hello, UAPers and ufologists. Love it. Just scrolling through. Donnie Falls, hello. Jimmy is here. Sam is here from Melbourne. Awesome. Melbourne. Joseph is here. Eichinger. Can never get your name right. I'm so sorry. Hello. Tim is here. Hello to Tim. Awesome. Ooh, Twitch. We got some Twitchers. Zoochex. Hope I'm saying that right, is here. And Alicia Hughes. Hello, Ryan from the Gold Coast. Wow. Got a lot of Australians here. Is that what the Gold Coast is? I think. I hope I'm getting that right. Hello from all to all down under. Anyways, what else did I have for you guys before we get to the news? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So like I said, a lot to cover. So let's get to it. We have a lot to go through tonight. And this first story is pretty interesting. It kind of went under the radar, no pun intended, out of Switzerland, of all places. I don't know if you guys saw this story, but yeah, it's really interesting. And this comes from the website Swiss Info. And let me get our famous slideshow up here for you. And we're going to go ahead and read from the article from Swiss Info. And like I said, guys, if you have any questions or comments about the stories, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we will try to answer them as we go here, or we will get to them at the end as well. Oh, speaking of which, I put a poll up on YouTube. Make sure to vote in that. My question was, let's go over there. Will we learn anything new from the November 13th UFO hearing? I can see you guys voting as we speak. We will get to that poll at the end when we cover the story about the UFO hearing. But let's move back to Switzerland for just a moment here. So recently, the Swiss Public Television Network, RTS, gained access to the Swiss Air Force's flying saucer files. This is so cool. The Federal Archives building in the Swiss capital stores millions of documents, including official files, administrative reports, and federal secrets. Among these are archives relating to UFOs. These were produced by the Army and the Air Force and the cantonal police and Swiss embassies. And most of these records have been digitized and are now available online. I will get a link for that and put it in the show notes retrospectively, guys. I had trouble finding a link to that, but I will find it for you, I promise. Several files from the Swiss Air Force, organized and faded in green folders, were titled, here we go, Fliegende Teller, Flying Saucer. You can see the image up on your screen right now for that. The 1954 is when these date back to. One file with the code name E5465B from 1954 contains Air Force Intelligence Services directives for pilots and officials on how to report UFO sightings in Switzerland. Pretty cool. Observation report forms in 3 languages were also developed to accurately record UFO sightings. These included fields such as, quote, position of the UFO, direction, elevation, size relative to the moon, and apparent propulsion, shape, and speed. RTS contacted former Swiss Army pilots, around 10 of whom confirmed these forms were used until the 1990s. So these forms were being used in Switzerland from the early 50s up to the 90s. That is a long time. And that is so cool that there were actual reports that were to be filed about these things. You know, at least in the United States or North America, even in the UK, it was frowned upon to ever report these things. But it looks like Switzerland was doing it right all along, and kind of putting stigma aside and saying, no, if you see something up there that you cannot explain as a pilot, as a trained observer, report it, write it down. Try to figure out what it is. If you can't, we will afterwards. So, yeah, pretty cool. Among the archived forms are reports from military personnel and defense ministry officials. The most notable case dates back to the winter of 1971, when the same UFO case was reported in 3 different military documents. In the first report, 2 officers on a Mirage 3 aircraft observed a bright point of light moving unusually over Interlaken in central Switzerland during a night flight on February 23rd. The object's movement was described as impossible for any military aircraft of the time. Quote, the luminous object moved with an undulating snake-like motion and then disappeared. Undulating, that's interesting. That's interesting. Almost like a dragon. Sorry, I'm watching medieval stuff lately. A second report described another pilot sighting the same suspected UFO over Winterthur hours later. The report included a diagram illustrating the object's size and movements. The sighting lasted several minutes. Finally, 3 days later, another Mirage 3 pilot observed the same object, initially mistaking it for an aircraft with landing lights before realizing it was stationary. He described a distinctive contrail and a cone-like angle before it vanished. Interesting reports. I cannot wait to dig into these and read more about them. So if we have anyone from Switzerland out there and you want to help us out, help us find these files and let's start reporting on them. These are brand new cases that we can look at internationally. It's no longer just the days of UK sightings, US sightings, Canadian sightings. Like, we can start to really dig into this phenomenon and topic through official documentation from the Switzerland government and military. So, in closing with this article, despite these detailed reports, no scientific explanation has been provided for any of these cases. Adding to the mystery, the original documents have disappeared. Maybe that's why we can't find a lot of them. But apparently there are many to still be seen. The library at Gusen Square, formerly the Federal Military Library, holds only a copy. There we go. The originals cannot be found, but there are copies of these. It has also been anonymized, with the pilots' names removed by federal officials. That's fair. That's totally fair. So the mystery continues on that, guys. Awesome. I love this story. I can't wait to dig into this. Let's move from Switzerland to Canada. But before we do that, I'm going to take a sip of my drink of choice tonight, guys. I'm going with a classic Guinness. Cheers to all of you guys. It's so good to be back. It's so good to be back with you guys. I love ghost hunting. I love Nova Scotia. And I have to thank Paul Kimball for the incredible experiences he gives me. But I'll be on my 3rd season with Haunted over there in Canada. But it's always good to come back and get these live streams going with you guys again. I love doing this. I love chatting with Suzanne every week. I love chatting with you guys. So thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm just so damn happy to be doing this again. Cheers to you. Where's our Canadians? Where's my Canucks? We got an awesome story next for you guys out of Canada. What's up, James Craig? Welcome. Good morning. UFO is here as well. Amy, hello. Repost is here. Hi, guys. Michelle, hello from Roswell, Georgia. Love it. Jimmy. Oh, I said hello to Jimmy already. Well, I'm saying it again. Hello, Jimmy. Hello. Kimberly Ward is here as well. If I'm missing you guys, I do apologize. We got a lot of people here. Good Lord. We're almost up to 370 already. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I missed you too. I definitely missed you. Let's go to Canada, guys. Grant Levac is here as well. Thank you, Suzanne. Grant, welcome, my friend. Grant, what'd you do, man? You brought out a lot of Australians for tonight's live stream. So I don't know if you're sharing this over there, but thank you, buddy. Thank you. I know Grant will also be live broadcasting the congressional UFO hearing. So this is awkward. Who you going to watch, guys? Me or Grant? We'll have to do a digital arm wrestling contest for it. I'm pretty sure he would win. I'm positive he would win, actually. Anyways, Grant, good to see you, buddy. Tets is here as well. Hello from Ireland. Welcome, TETS. Welcome to the show. Drinking your beer tonight, Tets. So thank you. Thank you. Cheers from right across the aisle over in Scotland. Okay. I promise we're getting to the next story. And that is about Sky Canada. So recently, a story broke on Twitter, actually, and then over on the Medium page of one Steve Tay. Now, I'm not sure if this is a pseudonym that Steve goes by or if this is his actual name, Steve Tay, but he did write an article. I will post a link for it in the show notes as well. Retrospectively, is that a word? Yeah, it is. About this story. But Steve was able to get some slides from a briefing that happened over in Canada recently. And the headline of this is Sky Canada Project recently had a briefing with Canadian military. Slides made public. So this is the cover slide that was made public about a crosstalk that took place over there. And let me go ahead and read from the article, and bear with me, guys. There's a lot to cover with this, but I want to get it all right with you guys. So the Office of the Chief Science Officer presented the Sky Canada project to the Canadian Armed Forces, including DRDC and NORAD, and discussed allegations about secret UAP research. So a report from Defense Research and Development Canada, which is DRDC, get used to these acronyms, how he's saying them a lot, reveals that on May 5th of 2023, while presenting the Sky Canada project at National Defense Headquarters, staff from the Office of the Chief Science Advisor, OCSA, described third-party allegations that DRDC conducted secret research on UAP since the 1950s. The unclassified report obtained through an access to information request also discloses that OCSA staff planned to meet with a small group of Americans who supported these claims. During the presentation, OCSA staff briefed attendees from Strategic Joint Staff and NORAD Forward Element on the goals of the Sky Canada project. The primary objective was to survey various government of Canada departments, including the armed forces, to identify any information collected when UAP reports are received. DRDC's sole attendee at the briefing was Dr. David Waller, a physicist who at the time was chief scientist at DRDC's Ottawa Research Center. According to the report, Waller attended since he was unfamiliar with the Sky Canada project. As the science and technology arm of the Canadian Armed Forces, DRDC conducts scientific research for military applications. What was also talked about at this meeting, here's another slide from it, sort of going through who was there. Participants, 1. Party of 1. What a loser. I'm kidding. That'd be so awkward to like go to this like highly sensitive meeting to like brief the military, and you go in the room and there's this one schlub in the back with a Tim Hortons coffee, just like, okay, I'm here. Let's do this. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure this is all taken very seriously, but yeah, I just think it's funny. Participants, 1. Anyways, They also talked about, and I'm going to go ahead, and again, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have visuals for this. If you're just listening to it in the future, the podcast version, head on over to YouTube, the Ryan Sprague YouTube channel, and you can look at this slide with us. One of the slides covered the shootdowns that happened over a year ago. That was a weird time, wasn't it? Where, you know, the U.S. and Canada shot down 3, or was it 4 different objects. Many were confirmed to have been spy balloons, Chinese spy balloons. A couple of them were never retrieved or recovered, supposedly. And we don't know exactly what they were. But this slide was shown at this briefing. So a notable point of discussion raised by OCSA staff during the briefing concerned third-party allegations that DRDC has purportedly been involved with the U.S. military in studying foreign material gathered from UAP since the 1950s, like we mentioned earlier. This mirrors claims made by Larry Maguire, a member of parliament, in a letter he sent to the Minister of National Defense in 2023. Maguire alleged that DRDC was in possession of UAP material and had participated in secret UAP studies since the 1950s as part of a, quote, Five-Eyed led foreign material program. I know Grant LaVox's ears are perking right now. 5 eyes, baby. Back in the news. Given the similarity in claims, and considering that Mr. Maguire's letter predates the briefing by 2 months and he was in contact with OCSA since 2022, it is reasonable to infer that he likely shared the allegations with OCSA staff before this May 5th briefing. But the obvious question that arises is, who or what is the source of these claims? Where did Larry Maguire learn about this? I have my theories. I'd love to know your theories, guys. I do believe that it could perhaps have been one of the individuals who we will talk about later that will be testifying at the UAP briefing in the U.S. Elizondo. Sorry. Something in my throat there. But yes, let's move on here to the ending paragraph here by Steve Tay. While the Sky Canada Project report is expected to be released in the fall of 2024 to the public, the implementation of its recommendations may face challenges. It's uncertain whether the scandal-plagued Trudeau government will focus on adopting UAP-related policies before the 2025 election. Yeah, I forgot that's going on over in Canada. How could I forget? I was just there for a month and a half. Also, neither the Prime Minister nor his current Ministers of National Defense or Transport have publicly expressed any interest in UAP. Having said that, in July 2024, the Prime Minister announced the reappointment of Dr. Mona Nemer as Chief Science Advisor for 3 more years, ostensibly endorsing the OXA's activities. However, the announcement was conspicuously silent on the Sky Canada project. Ultimately, only time will tell what the future holds for the Sky Canada project and how involved the military will be with this and what the Canadian public and the public overall will learn from all of this. But hey, I think Sky Canada project is amazing. Looking at this from a scientific viewpoint rather than just militarily, I am all for that. So again, thank you to Steve Tay for this article and bringing this to our attention. All right. Let me go up to the chat and see what you guys are saying. Before I forget, like Guinness, but love harp. Agreed, Jeffrey. Love me some harp as well. All right. That's funny, Ryan, but that's probably how it went down. Yeah, Robert. Oh, man. I love it. Tim Hortons is awesome, by the way. It's like the Dunkin' Donuts of Canada, if you guys aren't familiar. Like, you need a quick coffee on the run, you can find a Timmy Hortons anywhere in like a 2-mile radius of where you are in Canada. Really good donuts, too. I know the Canadians are probably laughing at me. They're like, Ryan, are you kidding? Like, that's like bottom of the barrel, but not for me. Not for me. We don't have places like that in the UK. I know there's Cafe Nero, I think it's called, or what's the other big one here? See, I can't even think of the name because there are a few far in between. Oh gosh, Costa, I think is what it's called. But just not the same. Just not the same. Anyways, moving on from coffee talk to our next story here with the curly-haired man himself, Mr. Golden Balls. Daniel Sheehan is back in the news. Golden Domes. Ooh. Oops. Did I really just say golden balls? I meant golden domes. I'm sorry, guys. I am in a mood tonight. Daniel Sheehan is back in the news after doing some interviews with Julian Dory, I believe his name is, and a few other outlets as well. But this story comes to us primarily from a talk that Daniel Sheehan recently gave to the New Paradigm Institute, which I believe he founded, is a member of. And this is titled, Daniel Sheehan Pinpoints 2 Locations of UFO Bases. I need a sip after that. Ooh. I've never seen the term golden balls so much in the chat. It really shouldn't be coming up outside of this flub I had tonight, but it is what it is. Gareth, somewhere in the courtroom is going to be a thing. It is. I've already started a conversation with Suzanne about that, Gareth. I'll keep you guys updated. But back to golden balls. Golden domes. Daniel, I'm getting very formal. Daniel Sheehan, Sir Daniel Sheehan, was giving a presentation on behalf of the New Paradigm Institute, where he recently pinpointed where he believes there is a UFO base where UFOs are coming in and out of. He would say in this talk and on these podcasts, quote, "There is one of these bases just down off of Baja, down off the south of Los Angeles in California, off a place called Guadalupe Island. The USS Nimitz," which you guys are familiar with, this was involved in the famous Tic Tac UFO event. The USS Nimitz was placed there to monitor them, and they have monitored over 100 of these UFOs coming and going, coming down from out of space and going under the water at that spot. Being monitored under the water by nuclear submarines that were attached to the USS Nimitz battle group. Excuse me. They have analyzed this, and we know there is a base down there. Before I go to the second location of a base, who is they? That's my first question to Daniel Sheehan. Who is they? We have information. They are, it is, who, what, where, why, when. The 5 pillars of journalism. These are the things that I want to know for these very bold claims. I'm not saying it's not true. I mean, it makes very good sense that there would be some sort of base out near Catalina Island where the Tic Tac UFOs were seen. Guadalupe Island is very remote. I think something like only 100 or so people actually live there. There is military activity around there as well. So it would not surprise me if there was to be some sort of underwater base that this could be a location where quote unquote UAP were coming in and out of. So that one I do believe could be possible. But we need more information other than they said, we know. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Who is we? So yeah, that's the first location. The second location here that Mr. Sheehan talked about is, quote, "There's another base outside of Sedona, Arizona, over by a place called Secret Mount Wilderness, a totally desolate area. There's a base there where the craft are, and there's a number of them high in the mountains in remote areas of the planet, and they're here now, and they're extraordinarily distressed about the state of affairs of humanity." I don't blame them for that. That's for damn sure. But again, like, how does he know that whatever is in control of these UFOs, let's say they're extraterrestrial, that they are distressed because of the way humanity is going? That, again, huge, bold claim. Could be true. Could very well be true. We've been saying this for decades and decades and decades, that if there is an ET intelligence visiting us, or an interdimensional, or us from the future, or whatever UFOs are or aren't, basically, that they are concerned about the way we are running this planet and what we're doing to each other. This, that. I mean, these theories have been going around forever, since the UFO topic basically started, especially back during the Abductee movement. So, you know, these claims he's making aren't completely out of thin air. They make logical sense if true. And that's where we're at right now. These are just claims. As usual with most of ufology, these are just claims by Dan Sheehan. But I'd like to know what you guys think. Do you think these bases exist? And my next question is, if they do, somebody, for the love of God, like, stop buying coffee for like 3 months, send that money to someone who's willing to go to Guadalupe Island and figure this out. Like, let's get the Galileo project to go do it. Hell, they found what they believe to be interstellar objects on the bottom of the ocean out near Papua New Guinea, I believe it was. So, like, why not? If we think there is a base so close as Guadalupe Island, like, let's go there. Storm Guadalupe Island. Hashtag. I'm starting it right now. Storm Mount Secret Mount Wilderness. Wild Mountain Secret Base. I don't know. Whatever. We'll work on that one. We'll workshop it. But let's go there. Let's go to these places. I know other channels have covered this, and they said they Googled Secret Mount Wilderness. And what was really interesting is the Google Map images that showed up. I believe Vetted, the YouTube channel Vetted, did this. They Google mapped it, and they showed that area. And then there was a large area of it that was just completely blurred out. Ooh, interesting, to say the least. So yeah, shout out to Vetted over there for doing that. That was interesting and only adds to the mystery and intrigue of these claims by one Sir Daniel Sheehan of Staffordshire. I don't know, is that a place? I should know that. I live in the UK. Hello to the one and only Douglas Sprague. That's my boy. Hello from Syracuse. Welcome. Dougie Sprague is in the chat, guys. I know you love him, so give him a big shout out if you can. Hello to my wonderful sister, Christy, if you're watching as well. Good to have you guys here, and thank you. Thank you for watching. But yeah, put your comments below, guys, if you think these bases exist. All right, I'd love to know what you think and what we should do next to figure out if they exist. All right, guys. While you guys talk to the one and only Doug Sprague, I am going to take a very, very brief commercial break here, and we're going to come back and talk about the more hot button issues going on in the UFO world, the controversies, and everything in between. So stick with us and watch this commercial break, and we will be right back where we're going to talk about a lawsuit by an alien abductee who is suing Netflix. We're also going to be talking about if our upcoming 47th president of the United States will be divulging the truth behind UFOs. And lastly, we are going to talk all about the upcoming November 13th UFO hearing. So like I said, stick with us, and we will be right back here on Somewhere in the Live Stream. I'll see you guys in a sec. Hey everyone, Ryan Sprague here, host of Somewhere in the Skies. If you've ever thought about supporting us, we have great 2 easy options for you right now. If you listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, you can click the subscribe button at the top of your Apple feed. Or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/somewhereskies. Both of these options give you the same benefits: early access to the main show, bonus episodes and content, and priority to ask our guests your listener questions. So, to help support Somewhere in the Skies, click that subscribe button on Apple or visit patreon.com/somewhereskies. Thank you so much for your support, and keep looking up. And welcome back to Somewhere in the Live Stream. If you're just joining us, we have been talking all the latest UFO headlines and news, and it's all leading up to a lot, guys. This is going to be a crazy month of UFOs, and I'm so happy to be back home and to cover all of this with you guys as it progresses. Like the commercial mentioned, if you would like to help us, those are 2 easy ways: Apple Premium, Patreon, or you can throw some bones right here in the super chat and super stickers. All of that goes back to helping the show grow and to help us get a brand new microphone for the show as well, because God knows this one is not going to make it much longer. But thank you for being here. Let's get to more of the news. And this image will strike fear into some and celebration to others. But welcome to America. And we are going to be talking about Donald Trump and UFOs. So unless you literally live in another universe, you know that we had our election in the United States where it was decided that Donald Trump will be the president again. 47th president of the United States. And if you guys know anything about his first term, he made some pretty big claims about releasing information about UFOs. That did not happen as far as I know, in his first term. And then he was out of office, and pretty much nothing really came of the Biden administration when it came to releasing information. However, we had the whole UAP Disclosure Act stuff going on. Arrow was giving out their reports around that time. So it's not like nothing happened. But yeah, it's been a contentious time in the United States in the past week or so. But the question is Trump set to finally release secret government UFO files? This story comes to us from The Independent in the UK, and it says, with the recent re-election of Donald Trump as the 47th president, Nick Pope, a former Ministry of Defense UFO expert, says that Trump could give conspiracists the hope with plans on delivering disclosure on otherworldly beings. Nick Pope would say in this article, it's the perfect storm. A maverick populist president in his second term and thus not up for re-election. For those in the UFO community who believe there's been a decades-long conspiracy to cover up the truth about an alien presence, Trump in his second term offers the best ever hope for pushing back against the deep state and delivering disclosure. We should mention here that Nick Pope is a vocal Trump supporter. So given this article, I do have to confront him and say that this is a biased assertion by Nick Pope in terms of his hope of what Donald Trump will do in office. But that's not to say that it would have happened if Kamala Harris became president either. Only time will tell when it comes to all of this. But in this article, they continue, Trump previously pledged to unveil top secret UFO footage if reelected, vowing to push the Pentagon to declassify the videos and release them to the public. Pope himself is hoping the ordeal will happen sooner rather than later. Pope would go on to say, I believe Trump views the subject in the same way as he views the JFK files, where if there's top secret information still being withheld, it should be declassified. As he seems to link the two issues, there's a strong possibility of bombshell UFO information being released early in 2025, soon after his inauguration. During his first presidency, Donald Trump released the documents related to the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy, vowing to unveil the rest of them if re-elected. While appearing on a podcast in September, Trump said he would pressure Pentagon officials to declassify videos of alleged UFO sightings, stating, quote, I'll do that. I would do that. I'd love to do that. I have to do that. Going to be big, huge. Going to be a big disclosure. Biggest disclosure ever. He did not say those last things. I just had to. Trump also previously claimed he heard interesting things about aliens while suggesting he would declassify files relating to the Roswell UFO, which is regarded as one of the most infamous unexplained incidents in U.S. history and has led to Roswell, New Mexico becoming a mecca for UFO enthusiasts. So, second question for you guys. I want your comments below. Do you think Donald Trump will release anything UFO related, whether it's files, whether it's videos? What do you think? What do you think? If, this comes to fruition, wow, that would be historic. But will it happen? Let me know in the comments below if you think Donald Trump will release the Kraken of UFO files and videos. We shall see. We shall see. Let's move on to our next story, guys, and this is interesting. Now, I had the opportunity to watch this documentary series in Canada with the one and only Paul Kimball, who was our guest last week on the podcast. If you have not watched or listened to that episode, I highly suggest you do. That was an in-studio episode that I recorded in Canada with Paul Kimball, former UFO researcher, now television ghost hunter. And we talked all about his top 5 favorite UFO cases of all time. It was so much fun. We covered so much ground in that episode, and I cannot recommend it enough. Go back in the archives, and you can watch it right here on YouTube or listen to it in the podcast archives as well. That being said, this documentary series came out, The Manhattan Alien Abduction, produced by Netflix, and it's caused some controversy. That's putting it lightly. So I'm going to go ahead and read from this article. The title is Claimed Alien Abductee is Suing Netflix Over Docuseries About Her Case. A New York City mother of two has shared her controversial story of being abducted by aliens from her downtown apartment in New York City in an upcoming Netflix docuseries. This article clearly is a little bit older, saying the streaming giant ended up portraying her as a fabulist. So Linda Napolitano, who first told her story under the pseudonym Linda Cortiel, claimed that she was abducted by aliens outside her 12th floor apartment in Manhattan in 1989. She was floated outside a solid window, brought into a large craft, into a blue beam of light, and the craft sped off toward the Brooklyn Bridge and disappeared out of sight. How do we know? Because apparently there were witnesses to all of this. The late artist turned UFO investigator Bud Hopkins championed Napolitano's story in the 1997 book Witnessed, the True Story of the Brooklyn Bridge Abductions, generating widespread interest and skepticism. Hopkins said he became convinced Napolitano was telling the truth after he received a letter from two bodyguards who said that they had been nearby protecting an unnamed world leader when they saw a woman floating through the night sky into an alien spacecraft. More than 20 other witnesses claimed that they also saw this. Now, Napolitano, 77, is trying to block Netflix from continuing to air its take on the supposed incident, claiming it presents a, quote, tale of skepticism and an examination of Napolitano's pulling the wool over Bud Hopkins' eyes, rather than a credulous recitation of her claims. Attorney Robert Young has gone public stating that Napolitano was egregiously deceived and would never have participated in the production if she knew how it would ultimately turn out. So we'll see. This is the attorney saying this. Litigation is a long war, many battles, and I have every confidence that we will prevail. Netflix did not respond to any comment on this story. Napolitano, her complaint alleges, was defamed on screen by Hopkins' late ex-wife, who she alleges is an embittered alcoholic ex-wife hell-bent on revenge against her husband. Man, the miniseries was the ex's last dying act of retribution to get even with her ex-husband. These are quotes from Linda Napolitano. Whew. Rather than exhibit the actual truth as investigated and written about in Witnessed, according to the complaint, which was filed in New York State Supreme Court. This is crazy. Hopkins' ex was said to have been bothered by her husband's failure to heed discrediting elements of Napolitano's story. In 2011, Hopkins' ex-wife published an article debunking the idea of alien abductions and lambasted his research methodology. The London-based producers of the film, Napolitano's complaint argues, assured her that they were planning to tell the truthful story of the abduction of Linda Napolitano, as laid out in the pages of Hopkins' book. This, according to the complaint, led Napolitano, who says she had long been reluctant to appear on film, to believe her version of events would in fact finally be presented. However, Napolitano insists she was misled from the get-go. The producers went forward with a different version of what she agreed to, instead setting up Hopkins' ex as an expert skeptic in the field. Her questioning of Napolitano's account served only to cast aspersions on her, with scripted dialogue supporting what she says amounted to a false narrative, the complaint states, taking further aim at the unflattering and denigrating costumes Napolitano was given to wear on screen. So basically, Napolitano saying that They put her in very unflattering clothing, did her hair in a bad way, told her what to say. And I will say, after watching the documentary series, it did seem like they were almost setting up a wrestling match between Bud Hopkins' ex-wife, who you see here, and Linda Napolitano as well. And it seemed a little over the top, to be completely honest. Napolitano says she never would have participated in the project had she known the producers would be relying upon false representation of what she insists happened to her, and that they preyed upon her naivete about movie making to get her to cooperate. She didn't realize anything was amiss until an associate attended a mid-September screening of the miniseries in the UK and reported back to Napolitano. In her complaint, Napolitano argues she was set up as a villain for purposes of controversy and conflict, supporting a narrative she says will subject her to shame and ridicule and destroy her reputation as an honest and decent person who experienced the abduction and only agreed to have this documentary of her experience be truthfully told for the very first time. Napolitano is claiming defamation and fraud with punitive and exemplary damages to be determined in court. She insists the final result was patently false and that the producers never intended on presenting a documentary based upon her true story. In all, Napolitano's complaint claims their conduct was reckless, fraudulent, oppressive, and despicable. And if the miniseries is released, which it was, no compensation could possibly undo the reputational damage she would suffer from that. Whew. I don't know where to begin. So, full transparency, I was actually linked in a lot of the articles that came out about this docuseries because I proudly was one of the first to cover this case in podcast format and even earlier in article format for Open Minds magazine. It was actually the cover article of one of the Open Minds magazines back in the day where I researched this case extensively and wrote an article and decided to do a podcast episode early in the run of Somewhere in the Skies about this. I believe it was Time Magazine who wrote about this, linked to our show. A bunch of other news outlets then picked it up as well. So I do want to thank them for doing that. That was very kind. If you haven't heard that episode about the Linda Napolitano Brooklyn Bridge UFO abduction, I did re-release it just a couple weeks ago, if not just last week. So if you go back 2 episodes, you can actually re-listen to it there. The reason I re-released it is because I also interviewed my mentor and someone who you probably recognize in the Manhattan Alien Abduction Netflix series, Peter Robbins. Peter has a very close connection to all of this. He was, like I said, interviewed extensively in the documentary series. He also is a part of this lawsuit, along with the estate of Bud Hopkins as well. All of them are suing Netflix because they were interviewed under false pretenses, as they claim, with all of this. And they said that none of them would have participated if they knew that that basically it was going to be a hit piece and make all of this out to be a fraud and kind of this almost like a love triangle between Bud's ex, Linda Napolitano, and Bud Hopkins. It's a mess. It's all a mess. Carol Rainey is the name of the woman as well, guys. I feel bad having not said her name and just referring to her as Bud's ex. That's extremely wrong. Strips her of her own agency. She has a story to tell, and she told it in this series. And she firmly believes that this story is a hoax. So what you get in this documentary series is both sides of the story. However, Linda, Peter, and the estate of Bud Hopkins don't believe that their side of the story was told accurately, and that this was a little biased. So, make of it what you will. Will this lawsuit go anywhere? Who knows? It'll probably last a very long time, as litigation often does, as Suzanne could probably attest to. But we shall see. We shall see what happens. What I would say when it comes to this story. Excuse me, my microphone is falling. Microphone gone. Man down. What I will say on all of this is what Peter has told me time and time again. Read the book. Read the original book by Bud Hopkins, Witnessed. And I would venture to even say, watch this series and then make up your mind. Get both sides of the story, whether you think it's biased or not, and make up your own mind. But for Linda, Peter, and the estate of Bud Hopkins, they believe they were not treated fairly when it came to this. And look, I have been there. I know how these things work. Television. They can edit you into oblivion and make you come across a certain way, say things you never remember even saying because they will string it together, put things out of context, everything. They can do this from audio. They can do this from visuals. They can really craft a story the way they see fit. And I will say, like, that is the risk you take of being involved in these sorts of things. That's not to say that I'm defending Netflix, but I'm also not defending those suing. This has nothing to do with me personally. Like, I'm not a part of this, except that my mentor is a part of this lawsuit. I don't know where I stand on this case after writing an extensive article and doing this podcast episode about it, watching this series, interviewing Peter all about it. I still don't know where I stand on all of it. Probably never will, like most cases. But it is interesting nonetheless. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below and in the chat. Will Linda Napolitano and others win their lawsuit? I would love to know. Netflix is producing stuff and lies more and more like Fox News these days. The reporters are all debunkers. Margaret, I'm glad you brought that up. Netflix is getting a lot of heat lately for coming out with these types of documentary series and people suing them. So I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be some sort of reckoning when it comes to these really quick to produce kind of documentaries where they're not as accurate as one would hope. I mean, there was even talk that like some of the stuff that Netflix aired in terms of archival footage of Bud Hopkins and whatnot was stolen by Carol Rainey and presented to Netflix. So she actually like there could be more legal issues with all of this than just defamation. So I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess. So we'll see where it goes. Let's see here. Linda was a bit of a hottie back in the day, just saying. Gareth, come on, buddy. Keep it civil. Keep it civil. I will say this. Linda Napolitano has the most New York accent I have ever heard in the history of New York accents. It makes me miss New York so much. So much. So I will say that. The implant would be proof that the story is true. That is a good point. Thank you, ZooTX over on Twitch. They did have an implant that they discovered in Linda's nasal cavity. So what was it? Richard, she reminds me of Fran Drescher. Oh, man. Let me go back into the chat and see what else you guys are saying. Man, Gareth. I like throw darts when I go and read your comments. And of course, I had to read your one about her being a hottie. Come on. We're better than that here. Love Peter Robbins, Gary says. Yes. For sure. For sure. All right. I think that's going to do it for that story. And we are going to move, guys, to our last story of the night. And that is the congressional UFO hearing taking place November 13th, this upcoming Wednesday. As I mentioned earlier in this broadcast, we will be live streaming the entire UFO hearing, so you will be able to catch that right here on our channel. Just make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. The placeholder for that live stream is already up here on the channel. So yeah, you can be ready for that, and we will see you here this Wednesday for that. But let's talk about this a little bit. The House of Representatives will hold a hearing on November 13th, held by the House Oversight Committee. It will be titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Exposing the Truth. The hearing will be jointly run by both the Cyber Subcommittee and National Security Subcommittee. Cyber Subcommittee Chairwoman Nancy Mace and National Security Subcommittee Chairman Glenn Grotham will co-chair this hearing. You are seeing images of both of them on the screen now if you're watching this on YouTube. But the real question was, for a while, who's going to testify at this thing? You know, and the rumors were going crazy in the UFO Twitter sphere. You know, will we be getting these whistleblowers that we've heard about for so long? Maybe some of the whistleblowers that David Grush spoke to at the last UFO hearing. You know, will there be new people coming to light to talk about this? And it came out. And we do have Dean Johnson over on Twitter to thank for getting that information first before anyone. And be sure to follow him over on Twitter. I believe it's Dean Johnson, something like that. You can find him. Just go to my Twitter account and look for I think I put out his handle at some point over there. Anyways, he was the one to bring this to our attention, who the 4 witnesses would be. And that is these gentlemen you're seeing on your screen. The Sausage Party of ufology. We have first, you will see him on your screen here on the far right, Tim Gallaudet. A little about Tim Gallaudet. I'm just going to run through the bios of these guys, and tell you a little about who they are and why they may be testifying at this event. Tim Gallaudet is an oceanographer and retired Rear Admiral in the United States Navy. Gallaudet worked for the U.S. Department of Commerce as the acting Undersecretary of Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere and acting administrator of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So you might be wondering, why is he testifying at a UFO hearing? Well, Timothy Gallaudet has become a prominent member of the UFO research community these past few years, having claimed to have seen footage of both UAP and USOs while on active duty in the U.S. Navy. He is currently on the advisory board of Americans for Safe Aerospace, which describes itself as a military pilot-led nonprofit organization focused on UAP. He is also a research affiliate with the Galileo Project, which searches for evidence of extraterrestrial technological artifacts. So there you go. What will we get from Tim at the UFO hearing? Next on the list is probably the most well-known, prominent, and most vocal when it comes to the UFO topic, and that is Luis Elizondo. Many of you know him from his work on television. He's been on this podcast a few times. I've sipped a few beers in the day with Mr. Elizondo as well. He just had his book come out, Imminent, which hit the #1 New York Times bestseller, and everything in between. Love him, hate him, say what you will, but he will be there testifying. He is our second witness at this event. Luis Elizondo is the former head of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or ATIP, which researched and investigated UFOs. Prior to ATIP, Elizondo oversaw counter-espionage and counterterrorism investigations for the Department of Defense, and also worked for the Office of the National Counterintelligence Executive and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Whew. In 2017, Elizondo came forward to admit that he gave 3 videos to reporters made by pilots from the U.S. Navy aircraft carriers. These videos were subsequently publicized in the New York Times and countless news outlets thereafter. Since then, Elizondo has expressed his belief that the UFOs depicted in these videos and some throughout his time with ATIP were indeed not human. He would elaborate in his 2024 book, Imminent: Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs. So that will be our second witness. Coming up next to bat, number 32 for the New York Yankees, we have Mike Gold. He does not play for the New York Yankees. I'm kidding. Mike might be the one that people know the least about. If you're watching this on YouTube, he is not the next gentleman next to Elizondo, but he is on the far left with the glasses. Mike Gold. Who is he? Who is this guy? Mike Gold is currently the Chief Growth Officer for Redwire Corporation, an aerospace leader in space infrastructure for the next generation space economy. He's also the former NASA Associate Administrator for the Office of International and Interagency Relations. He was responsible for providing strategic direction to the Office of General Counsel and supporting NASA's LEO commercialization efforts. Prior to joining NASA, Mr. Gold was the Vice President of Civil Space at Maxar Technologies and was also General Counsel for the company's Radiant Solutions business unit. Additionally, and this is where my ears perked, Mr. Gold spent 13 years at Bigelow Aerospace, where he established the company's Washington office, oversaw the launches of its Genesis 1 and 2 spacecraft, and received a team award from NASA for his contributions to the Bigelow Expandable Activity Module. So on September 13, 2020, then acting Associate Administrator for the Office of International and Interagency Relations, Mike Gold, what I'm about to tell you guys, this came from the Black Vault, from John Greenwald over at the Black Vault. So I thought this was worth adding here to give a little bit more context as to why Mike Gold may be speaking at this event and his interesting relationship with Bigelow Aerospace. John Greenwald over at the Black Vault would say, Mike Gold sent a weekly update email to a list of recipients, which included then NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine and several others. Within the update, Mike Gold talks about a briefing he would be attending at the request of the UAPTF. So, this is where it all comes in, guys. The Pentagon UAP Task Force. Prior to working with NASA, Gold worked for Bigelow Aerospace. Although potentially just a coincidence, Gold worked for Bigelow Aerospace from February of 2003 through April of 2016. This would put him within Bigelow Aerospace as the Director of DC Operations when they were operating the Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies, BASS, a subsidiary allegedly investigating paranormal events and UFO sightings for the Defense Intelligence Agency. This would be the program that we knew as the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Applications Program, or OSAP. So, yeah, this is the guy I'm excited to hear from. It'll be interesting to see what he has to say in relation to UFOs, considering his time with Robert Bigelow and his work with the DIA and the mysterious happenings at Skinwalker Ranch. So that's cool. I'm really looking forward to what Mike Gold may have to offer at this event. And last but not least, guys, we are going to talk about the gentleman to the right of Mike Gold, if you're watching this on YouTube, and that is journalist Michael Shellenberger. Michael Shellenberger is the best-selling author and founder of the news site Public, where he writes about free speech, civilization, and humanity. Recently, Shellenberger wrote an article titled "Pentagon is Illegally Hiding Secret UFO Program from Congress," whistleblowers allege. In this article, Shellenberger claimed to speak with a whistleblower who discovered highly secretive documents pertaining to a Pentagon-run UFO retrieval program called Immaculate Constellation. In the article, Shellenberger stated the following, quote, "The person has written a report that says the executive branch has been managing UAP NHI issues without congressional knowledge, oversight, or authorization for some time, quite possibly for decades. Furthermore, these individuals have revealed the name of an active and highly secretive DoD unacknowledged special access program, or a USAP. The source of the document told Public that the USAP is a strategic intelligence program that is part of the U.S. military's family of longstanding, highly sensitive programs dealing with various aspects of the UAP problem. Shellenberger has kept his source completely anonymous as to not give away their identity. So what I'm wondering is, Maybe we'll learn more about Immaculate Constellation and this whistleblower when Schellenberger testifies at the UFO hearing. But what I did want to add at the end here, guys, is no matter the case of what happens on November 13th at this hearing, this is only one of 2 hearings that we are going to possibly get this month, if not in the next couple months. Confirmed by Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. Oh, I don't have a slide for her. I thought I did. Sorry, Kirsten. Confirmed by Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, the Senate Armed Service Committee is looking to hold a UFO hearing of their own in late November or early, what comes after November? December. Wow. Gillibrand, who in 2022 helped start the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARROW, created to assess reports of UAP, she is demanding a progress update on the office's work. So at this other hearing, the Senate UAP hearing, we will possibly hear from the brand new head of ARROW, which is no longer Sean Kirkpatrick. I don't remember the new person's name, so please forgive me. If you guys remember, you can throw it in the chat. But this will be kind of a grilling about what they're doing over at ARROW. Is this worth continuing to spend money on? Maybe they'll bring some cases to light that they have been able to explain. Maybe some they haven't. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to hear from the new director of that. So we shall see. We shall see. I have respect for these brave people willing to testify and find the truth, Terrence says. Thank you, Terrence. Jimmy says, I'm interested in hearing Mr. Gold's testimony the most. Same with me. Same with me. That's for sure, Jimmy. Can't believe Mellon decided not to go. I know, Jay Allen. He's been going back and forth on Twitter, kind of explaining why he's not, and that he might possibly do it in the future. Mellon is not going because the need material for season 3 of the hearings. Oh, Metal Hendrix. Schellenberger has the whistleblowers. I don't think he'll care for Skiff like Rush had to. Yeah, I do wonder. Like, none of these guys can do Skiff meetings, as far as I know. Like, I don't think they have the clearances to do something like that. So that kind of makes me a little hesitant that we'll get anything groundbreaking, because nothing they're going to say is classified. It'll be a lot of hearsay, a lot of stuff like that. But who knows? One of these guys might completely throw us a curveball. Who knows? Good morning, UFO. Who sued Netflix? Amy asks. That would be Linda Napolitano. Good morning, UFO. Along with Peter Robbins, the UFO researcher, and the estate of Bud Hopkins. Those 3 collectively are the ones suing Netflix. Thank you for being here. Also, really do appreciate that. So yeah, guys, this is going to be an interesting week. That's for sure. No matter what happens, we're getting another UFO hearing. Can't believe I'm saying that. So that's crazy. Are you looking forward to it? That's what I want to know. And do you think anything new will come of it? I'm going to go over to the YouTube channel, and I put a poll up earlier tonight to see what you guys think about this. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page here and see what you said. And we're going to start to close things out here. I asked over on YouTube, will we learn anything new from the November 13th UFO hearing? Out of 103 votes, 34% of you said yes, 31% of you said no, 33% of you said maybe, and 2% said I don't care. Wow. Neck and neck between yes, no, and maybe. That's interesting. That's pretty interesting. Kudos, guys. There we go. That's enough right there for all of us to watch on Wednesday to see what happens. And you can watch it right here on our channel. So make sure you're subscribed and all of that, guys. Thank you, Terrence, for the very kind words and all that. But let's talk about what's to come here at Somewhere in the Skies coming up for you guys before we do our official closeout. I will go to our starred thing and see what you guys are saying as well before we close things out. If there's anything you really want to get in last minute here, a question or a comment, you can leave a super chat for us and do that as well. That helps support us here as well. This is awesome. So first on the news docket for me, guys, I got invited to speak at the Cryptid Conference UK here in the United Kingdom. This will be taking place in, I believe it's May of 2025. So we got some time. I was invited by the wonderful folks over there in Somerset, UK. They're putting on the 3rd annual event, and I will have a link for that in the show notes as well for you later on. I don't believe I was able to get it in just yet, but I will be speaking about something I have not spoken about in the past, and that is the connection, or I should say possible connection, between Bigfoot and UFOs. It's going to be balls to the wall crazy. I cannot wait. I have found some extremely rare cases of Bigfoot being sighted with UFO accounts, some that I don't think people have ever even heard of. I was able to dig deep into the Project Blue Book files and find some as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to meet all of you in Somerset, UK for this event later in May of 2025. Thank you to the organizers for having me. I'm deeply touched and honored to be stepping out of my comfort zone and speaking at a cryptid conference of all things. So that'll be pretty cool. And Terrence said, I saw Ryan on an episode of Small Town Monster recently. Thank you, Terrence. Yeah, I totally... That I should have mentioned that. Yeah, I'm in a couple Small Town Monsters projects. They're on the Trail of UFOs series. You can catch me in that. And I should say, I'm going to be in several upcoming Small Town Monsters projects to come to you guys in 2025. I filmed for several of those when I was in Ohio recently at Monster Fest. So, yeah, be on the lookout for those as well. And more importantly, be on the lookout tonight. Dropping on your main podcast feed, we have 2 members of Small Town Monsters, and we are interviewing Tyler Hall and Ron Murphy about the Phantom Lights, UAPs of the forest. That's extremely exciting for me. It was a wonderful conversation that we had all about these ghost lights, spook lights, fairy lights, will-o'-the-wisp, whatever you want to call them. Foo Fighter phenomenon. It's incredible how these phantom lights have been seen and witnessed for centuries at this point, and that they can be connected to all things paranormal, ufological, everything. So cool. So I talked all about the phantom light phenomenon with Tyler Hall, who is the director and filmmaker of a new documentary by Small Town Monsters called Phantom Lights, UAPs of the Forest. And we also had Ron Murphy on, the author of the book, Lights in the Mist. Together, they explored these phenomena in the Phantom Lights documentary, which you can watch for free right now on the Small Town Monsters YouTube channel. A feature-length documentary for free, guys. Go on over to the Small Town Monsters YouTube channel, subscribe, and you can watch Phantom Lights right now. And you can listen to our exclusive interview with Tyler Hall and Ron Murphy coming to you tonight on the main feed. And like I said earlier, you can catch the UFO hearing live right here on this channel on YouTube on Wednesday. And yeah, that's all I got, guys. Wow. We covered so much. Thanks for sticking with me through all of these articles. Sorry I didn't have any videos or anything for you guys tonight. It's been a busy week for me personally. But I'm so happy that we're back. Why am I so blurry? I guess I'm not that blurry. I think I need glasses. It's all those phantom lights I've been seeing. I'm going to go to the chat here and see what you guys are saying. Hello to Gnostic. Hello. Richard. Were you on an episode of CW's Roswell? I was actually, not their fiction series, but I did a 1-hour special about the Roswell UFO crash for a series called Mysteries Decoded. And you can watch that for free at the CW. You just go to their website and they have 3 seasons, I believe, of Mysteries Decoded available for free to stream over there on CW. And I'm in several episodes. I'm in a Roswell one, a Area 51 episode, where I went to Area 51, didn't go past the gate, would have gotten shot. And then I did a Phoenix Lights episode as well. So yeah, you can catch me in all 3 of those. I'm in an upcoming episode as well. I just don't know when their new season is airing, but staying busy with that. So you can catch me on the CW. You can catch me on the upcoming season of Ancient Aliens on the History Channel as well. Contributed to several episodes of that. So go to the History Channel to watch that. And you can catch me on Haunted, a ghost hunting TV show that I've done 3 seasons of over in Canada with Paul Kimball. And you can watch that for free on YouTube, seasons 1 through 4. I show up in season 11. So you got a little ways to go before you see me on the YouTube version. But you can catch me live on the current season of Haunted on Eastlink if you live in Canada. I'm always trying to post clips too, so just be on the lookout on my social media for that as well. I'm going to go to your start stuff here, guys, and get through this quick. Hides and Long Grass for the microphone fund. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate the $5 super chat for that. Thank you. Truly, truly. If you guys can't help monetarily, please just like, subscribe, share the show. That's all I could ever ask of you. But if you do want to help us out, throw us some bones, you can do that here in the super chat or join our Patreon campaign. There's a QR code right up on the screen there. Thank you, Suzanne, for our PayPal. We have a Buy Me a Coffee link as well. All of that can be found in the show notes. Repost says Golden Balls starring Pierce Bronson. I am not going to live that one down. Definitely not. Robert says, I bought you a coffee. Please put towards the microphone fund. Thank you, Robert. Truly do appreciate that. That will go directly to the new microphone fund. Appreciate that. Richard asks, not to change the subject, but would you ever consider reviewing the whole Linda case? Would you consider interviewing Linda down the road? Yes, absolutely. I would. I would definitely like to do that. I do know for a fact that Linda, Peter, and anyone involved with the lawsuit cannot do any type of media or publicity right now while the lawsuit is active. If and when it is settled, then they may be able to do press. And I would happily have Linda on to tell her side of the story, no matter what happens. Good question. Thank you. Donnie, great show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all your very kind words. Richard, thank you so much for the super sticker. Truly appreciate that. Thank you, James Craig, as well. And J. Ellen Heineken will be here on Wednesday. Awesome. I hope you guys will all be here on Wednesday to join us for the UFO hearing. Like I said, we'll have some surprise guests joining us after the hearing to have a post discussion on how everything went and all that too. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, that's going to do it, guys. Make sure you are subscribed to the Somewhere in the Skies podcast and rate and review the show. Very, very, very important that you do that. Ratings and reviews mean everything to independent podcasters. They boost us up on different platforms like Apple, Spotify, things like that, so that we get featured. You know, like when you go to Apple and it recommends shows to you, or the big thing shows up like, check out the new episode of this true crime show. That only happens when people rate and review and download episodes. So please, if you can, go to Apple and rate and review the show, or give us a rating on Spotify. Those are the 2 big ones. But if there's an option to rate and review anywhere else you get the podcast, that obviously helps as well. So yeah, help us out that way too, if you can. Rate, review, download, leave a review. That really, really would help us a lot. So yeah. All right, that's going to do it, guys. Awesome. We've been going for an hour 25, so I'm going to say good night to all 660 of you watching this. Incredible. It is so damn good to be back. Like I said, I thank every single one of you who took any time to watch this tonight. I want to give a very special thank you, as always, to Suzanne for doing a exceptional job in the chat tonight and helping us out with everything, keeping things going. Huge shout out to Doug Sprague and Christy Sprague as well, if you're still watching. Love you guys. See you during the holidays. And yeah, I'm wishing an early happy holidays to all of you. We're getting close. I know we're getting close to Thanksgiving over there in the United States. I got to celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, which was awesome. And I'm going to celebrate the US one too, here in the UK. So that's great. I got 2 Thanksgivings this year. So that's cool. And yeah, what are you guys doing for Christmas? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. I love to hear of people's traditions and whatnot during the holidays and the new year too. So, yes, I'm wishing all of you a very good night, a very happy holiday season. Stay safe out there. I know things are a little rough over there in the US right now, but we'll keep trugging along. We'll keep talking UFOs. If there's one thing all of us can agree on, it's that we need to understand these phenomena happening in our skies. And we can all agree on that. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward in the United States, in the world in general, and with the UFO topic as well. So I'm going to leave you guys, as always, with our slogan here, and that is keep your feet on the ground, but never stop searching somewhere in the skies. I'll see you next week. I'll see you this Wednesday, and keep looking up. Take care.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.